Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt different? Not because anything happened, not because anyone said a word, but because your body knew something before your mind had any information. What if that's not anxiety? And what if that's not you being too sensitive? What if your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and nobody ever taught you to work with it? Today, we're talking about what it means to absorb energy that was never yours, and how to find your way back to what it actually is. Let's begin. Welcome to The Kindred Journey, the podcast for the spiritually curious, the wounded, the wandering, and the wildly awake, where nervous system healing meets spiritual transformation, and where your identity is something you receive, not something you earn. I'm your host, Leslie. You don't have to have it figured out to belong here. Now, take a deep breath. You're in the right place. Let's go. This weekend, I was in the kitchen with my son, my 4-year-old, and he was working on something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he started to get frustrated. And immediately, before I had even really processed what was happening, I felt this shift in my body. It was a tightness in my chest, kind of like a volcano swirling up through my chest cavity, and then it started to move up into my throat. It was building pressure, like a carbonated water bottle shook up and about to be opened. I was about to explode. But I paused. I noticed this experience in my body, and I realized that this is not mine. So instead of rushing towards him and trying to fix whatever he was doing to relieve the discomfort in my own body, I took a step back. I got curious. I wondered, where along in my own life, my own experience, was I not allowed to experience discomfort? Where did someone just do it for me to bypass their own discomfort? In the moment of my frustration, minimizing my experience. This is the pattern that so common is unconsciously occurring. And I want to say something to somebody listening right now who just went, oh gosh, I have done this. Permission slip granted, we all have. It's because it's what we were taught. It's what was mirrored to us. It's what was safe for the person who was supposed to be leading us by example, because that's what was taught to them. So instead of fixing, I held the space. I was in the kitchen. I took a step back. I was observing what was mine and what was not mine. And when I leaned back into my own energetic being, I even took a few cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and holding that space for him to be in discomfort with his circumstance, with his experience. I was there with him. I didn't leave the room. I didn't run away. I didn't try and suppress. I didn't use words. I just noticed what was going on, what was happening. And eventually I asked him, do you need help with that? I wasn't trying to fix it for him. I was not taking the thing from him and trying to do it. I was just offering my support. Here's what I know now. When we don't allow the body to complete the somatic cycle of an experience, which on average, it can take approximately 60 to 90 seconds to fully process an emotion. If we don't allow that to fully move through the body, it gets stored in our body. And then a memory is curated of how to move through that thing. It gets seeded into our brain of that That is the experience. That is the memory. So when what we are holding outweighs our capacity, we create density in our body. When we have somatic cycle after somatic cycle not completed, not allowing that wave of emotion, that wave of the process to unfold, it gets stuck and it gets suppressed and it gets put down on top of one after another. So that density that we create, it stays here in our body. So that moment in the kitchen, not only was I having extreme compassion for my son, I had compassion for the younger version of me as well, who was never allowed to complete her cycles. It doesn't matter where, who, or how. What matters is the awareness and the willingness to change the pattern, to complete the cycle. It's to create these new neural pathways, to change how I see an obstacle, to see how I see the hard differently. So when we're trying to fix things for the sake of others, which is ultimately for the sake of ourselves, because our body doesn't feel safe with others in their fullest expression, we presume that weight, that density, that somatic cycle that was never fully processed. It becomes something stored in our body that was actually never meant to live there. I have been carrying something that was never mine, and the moment that I named it, my body exhaled. So what I have learned through my own somatic work is that empaths, and I believe most women are more empathetic than they realize or know, are not just emotionally sensitive. Being an empath is hardwired into our DNA. It is how we have survived since the beginning of time. Women are somatically attuned. Our nervous system is wired to pick up on the emotional state of others, on who needs nurturing. It's just innate in us. This isn't a character flaw. This is an extraordinary gift. But without discernment, without the tools to sort out what is yours from theirs, it can become chronic overwhelm for a body who has this density that has been there and not processed. I'm not going to get too sciencey here on you, but I want to talk to you about mirror neurons. So your nervous system has the capacity to literally attune to the nervous system of another person. This is how we connect. This is called co-regulation, especially important for mothers and fathers with little kids because they're attuning to our nervous system. It's kind of like dialing into a radio station. When you walk through that room, you attune with that other person's nervous system. So this is why this is so important. It's because it's how we connect in real life. It's how we parent. It's how we lead. And it's how we love. But there can be a shadow side, especially in a dysregulated environment around someone who is dysregulated or maybe anxious or in a lot of pain. That same attunement can absorb or merge into something that isn't yours. Most empaths, myself included, have spent almost their whole life being told that they are too sensitive. So invitation for a reframe here, you are not too sensitive. You are finely tuned. The work here is learning how to use this instrument. And this is something that I realized through my somatic program last year, that my empathy, my attunement, this is a gift from God. I just never had the tools or the discernment on how to use this gift. Last year changed everything for me. So maybe an example that will help you maybe understand what maybe language I'm speaking here if this is all new to you. This is an example that you might recognize. You arrive somewhere feeling completely fine, and then you leave super depleted, like exhausted, energetically drained, like you have no energy left. And nothing happened. You just maybe went to a birthday party, or you went to a dinner with your friends, and maybe you have some toxic friends and they were talking about certain things that really fatigued you and drained you. Another example is maybe your mood or your attitude, it shifts with no internal origin of why. Nothing changed. Your circumstance is the same. But something shifted in the room, and you took that on. Maybe your husband is having a hard day out. He comes through the door after having a hard day at work, and you were so happy you just got done talking to a girlfriend or you went for a walk. But the second he comes in the room and he has a bad mood, so then that ripple of him, oh, why do I feel mad all of a sudden or frustrated? You didn't do anything. You didn't change your circumstance. This one is on a bigger scale of an aha for me that I learned last year. Is you walk into an airport, you check your bags, you get parked, you have to be there a certain amount of time before the airplane takes off. You go through TSA. The rushing of TSA in itself is such a dysregulating experience. It's just this ambient pressure of everyone. It's like cattle going through a squeeze chute. Everybody's just pushing to get through this one narrow space, and then on the other end, there's the greener pasture. There's a little bit of a breath. There's a little bit of an exhale. But everybody is needing to be somewhere at the same exact time. Between the gate, all the crowds, the noise of the airport. So invitation just to pause for maybe an exhale, maybe just sharing that experience with you. You could start to feel the tension rise in your body. I did. But if you walk into an airport unconscious, not owning or taking responsibility for your own energy body, your own experience, it is so easy to get swept up in the chaotic energy that is surrounding you. This is not anxiety. This is empathetic absorption. So a lot of women, and again, this is not in replacement of medical advice, but sometimes people can self-diagnose themselves with anxiety. And in reality, what she could have been experiencing, myself included, is empathetic overwhelm. It has a completely different remedy. Because what if you are not anxious? What if you are just incredibly attuned to those around you? To a room that is carrying too much? To an airport that is way too chaotic? Here is the most important question that I have learned to ask. Is this mine? When a feeling arises, before you name it, before you label it, before you even act from it, invitation for you to pause, maybe even close your eyes and settle into your body. And maybe ask yourself, was this here before I entered this space? Did this arrive with someone else? And I want to say something about this before we go into this practice. Being somatically attuned is not New Age, and it is not being sensitive. It is the same capacity that allowed Jesus to know what was in a person before they ever said a word. The discernment between your spirit and another's, between what is yours and what is his. Not everything that you feel is yours to carry. Discernment begins in the body, not the mind. I want to take a moment and speak directly to you. If you have been listening to this podcast for a while, you already know that this work is not about having the right answers or following the right steps. It's about coming home to your body, to yourself, to who you actually are underneath everything that you have been carrying. I have opened an intimate amount of one-to-one coaching spaces, 12 weeks of deeply personal, somatic healing work that's built entirely around you and your season. No curriculum, no predetermined path, just sacred co-created space where your body leads and I hold the way. This is for the woman who has done the mindset work and still feels that something is unresolved. The one who knows something is ready to move, but does not quite trust it yet. If this is landing somewhere in your body right now, I want you to pay attention to that. The link to book a connection call is in the show notes. This is just a conversation. No pressure, no script. It's just us feeling out together whether this is your next step. I would be so honored to walk alongside you. Let's get back to the show. Invitation for an exhale. If you ever find yourself in this place, maybe before you're going into an airport or you're going to a dinner or a room full of people, invitation to just close your eyes or soften your gaze. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Maybe planting your feet that much firmer on the floor, grounding down into the earth. Noticing what's alive in your body before you enter this space. And if you don't know what I mean by that, what I mean is what is activated? What are you experiencing? And for some people, it is from here to here. That is okay. We are here to walk with you. Some people have learned it's not safe to feel what the body has to say. So they operate from here to here. We are here to walk with you in finding that source of safety to feel back into your body. So as you do this, just really taking an inventory of what is yours before you're going into a room, an airport, a busy space, a dinner party, whatever it is. It's a great way to just have a pre-gauge and a post-gauge so you know what you maybe collected from that room when you went into that room, unintentionally or not. And to have an energetic awareness, an energetic cleansing practice is really supportive so you don't carry that out of that room. You're able to go on with your day, your week, without holding something that was never yours to carry. So I'd love to bring you back into your body before we close, wherever you are right now in this moment. Maybe you're driving or walking, folding laundry, running after kids, whatever it is. Invitation for you to take a breath and maybe notice where you are right now. What were you feeling before you pressed play today? Now, invitation to ask your body, not your mind, is there anything that I am carrying right now? Does this actually belong to me? And if something comes up, just acknowledge it. You don't have to fix it or return to it. You don't have to know where it came from. Just an invitation to recognize that this is not yours. And let your body exhale. Be the beginning of setting it down. If this episode named something in you, something that you have been feeling but you didn't have words to, you couldn't say, I invite you to share this with one woman in your life who has been told that she's too sensitive her entire life, that she needs to know that this is not a character flaw. It is a gift that she has not been taught how to use yet. And I'd love for you to come find me on Substack. I am writing more on somatic practices that go alongside everything that I'm talking about in my book. The link is in the show notes, and I will see you next Thursday. Take care. Thank you for meeting me here. If this episode met you somewhere real, the most generous thing that you can do is share it with one woman in your life who is wandering, curious, or quietly longing for more. She might not even know she's looking for this yet. And if you have a moment, leaving a 5-star review helps more women find their way to this space. And that is part of the healing too. I'll see you next Thursday.